The birds and the bees. The facts of life. You know what I'm talking about, right? Okay, come closer. Today, we're gonna talk about
sex!
Dude. I guess the cat's out of the bag now. We're gonna talk about sex. Most species that ever existed procreated through sex, right? It is the most natural act in the world. Yet, we hear oohs and ahs when the conversation comes up, and we go shh when someone enters the room. Even the Catholic Church has so much to say about sex. So, why the drama? Let's look at 3 common perceptions about sex. 1. The church says sex is shameful. 2. Everyone can do it, wherever and whenever they please. And 3. Consent is the only factor required for sex. So, are these perceptions true? Let's dig a little deeper. Let's look at the first one. Sex is a shameful act. God created sex. So, how can it be anything but good? He told Adam and Eve to be fruitful and multiply. And yes, that meant have sex. The love and intimacy between a man and a woman is even celebrated in the Bible in a book called the Song of Songs. God shows us the beauty of sex and how it's so much more than just a physical act. It's a reflection of the perfect union of the Trinity. God the Father and Son love each other totally and completely. By its very nature, this love is fruitful and is manifested in the person of the Holy Spirit. In marriage, we are called to experience this perfect complementarity and unity in the sexual union and to be open to the gift of life. So, no, the church does not consider sex as shameful. In fact, it is such a holy and sacred act that the church protects its sanctity through the sacrament of matrimony. Number 2, everyone should do it. Now, many studies suggest that sex is good for health. It elevates your mood, it relieves stress, and so on. And sure, there's no debating that sex is good. But what's the real purpose of sex? As a reflection of the Trinity, sex has 2 purposes: procreative and unitive. Procreative means being open to life, willing to accept new life through the sexual act. The unitive aspect calls partners to grow continually in unitive love and fidelity so that they are no longer 2 but one flesh. Their mutual self-giving is strengthened and blessed by Jesus Christ in the sacrament of matrimony. And so we cannot engage in sex whenever and with whomever we want because it doesn't always fulfill this dual purpose. These purposes can only be truly fulfilled through the sacrament of matrimony. The church insists that we cannot separate the unitive and the procreative purpose of sex. And this is why certain acts are prohibited by the church. For example, IVF is procreative but not unitive. It takes away the right of a child to be born out of an act of love. The church also frowns upon contraception because it is unitive but not procreative. In the case of masturbation or homosexuality, sex is neither procreative nor unitive. And number 3, all you need is consent. One night stands, live-in relationships, or just casual sex. Our culture is changing and people need to get with the program, right? Knowing what we know now, that sex is the representation of the nature of God, could it really be so casual? Okay, if as a youngster I wanted to enter into a sexual relationship, my maturity would be called into question, right? I must be equipped to deal with the responsibilities and consequences of sex. Even if I'm mature enough to handle it, sex has consequences, the most important one being children. Am I financially stable? Can I handle the responsibility of a family? Finally, the dual purpose of sex can only be truly fulfilled when there is a lifelong commitment between partners. And this can only be done through the sacrament of matrimony. So then, consent isn't enough. Sex requires maturity, responsibility, and commitment. And these three can be best achieved through the sacrament of matrimony, where the dignity of the partners and of the act itself is upheld. This is why sex is called the marital act, because the only reasonable context for sex is marriage, where love is free, total, faithful, and fruitful. So, what are your thoughts? Should sex be reserved only for marriage? Is it possible to have all the key elements and purposes of sex outside of a permanent relationship? Let us know in the comments below. Hey, you made it till the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. If this video taught you something new about sex, don't forget to hit that like button, comment and subscribe to see a lot more content coming your way. And please hit the bell icon to never miss a video. Until next time.